Hey there, we're the Westlaw Pirates and welcome to the show. We're here to share our thoughts on Northwestern athletics and college sports with thoughts and analysis from the visceral to the statistical. We run our tailgate with the red pirate flag flying high above as we give it no quarter, especially the fourth. I'm Sam Walter.
I'm John Lacombe.
And I'm Eric Skoskauspo.
So, there is football to talk about. I would much rather be talking about, a Super Bowl coming up in a couple weeks, but, alas, snowstorms had otherwise. But
Sammy.
That's neither here nor there. We'll talk about a different team from Colorado here in just a few minutes. But big news was that the Big Ten finally released the schedule for this upcoming season, the 2026 season. It seems so late. Like the end of January is when we're getting this schedule, and I don't recall ever waiting this long for the schedule. One interesting point on the schedule, and this was, we'll kind of bat this around too, is they said this is the schedule, home venues to be announced later. That's a real interesting kind of bit of phrasing I want to dive into in a sec. But just right off the hop, what do you guys make of the Cats schedule coming up in 2026? We knew all the teams. Now just when and where, when we're playing them, now we know.
I think there were two questions. One was just kind of a question. I think one, and I'd heard this mentioned by a couple people, were like, given that so much seems unsettled with Northwestern, and given that, as we're going to talk about, there's, where the venue is and what the situation is with Ryan Field and the timetable, etc. If somehow based on that timetable, the Big Ten would manufacture some sort of, I guess you call it theater, by putting that Michigan State game week one. They did not do that. That's neither here nor there. I mean, that's not happening. We're playing Michigan State in October. But the bigger thing that remains unanswered is, right, like this, the answers just prompted more questions, because we're looking at that September 5th against South Dakota State, and then a bye, and then Colorado. And right, that's, everyone's looking at this now and just being like, this feels lakey, and we're gonna find out. But you're absolutely right. Between this schedule and that, and then them putting the thing that's like February 3rd, there will be more answers, right? So it's like we all got this, and we're all still waiting for the other shoe to drop here.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe everyone but me. And maybe I have the luxury of like not living in Chicago and probably not coming to that SDSU game either way. And it's just like I think the schedule is one thing. I think the construction timetable is another, and I think we'll see what comes out next week. We're seeing Louis Vaquer kind of signal, oh, is it Colorado? Oh, is it going to be Penn State? Like there could be a couple. I'm sure it's all flexible, and gosh knows what all could happen between now and then, variable wise. So, but I like what jumps off the page to me. Venue, regardless of venue, we play SDSU, and then we have a bye, and then 11 straight weeks of football.
That only one bye week this season, and having our bye in week 2, that's rough.
It's a tough go.
It is. It's a tough go, and that we are not alone in this. But like, being that we're all dads, throwing Halloween into the mix too. Granted, it's a road game, but it's really going to feel all stacked up. But Sam, do you want to just run through the whole slate here?
Yeah, absolutely. So opening the year, like we said, the South Dakota State game had been on the books for September 12th. They bumped it up a week to September 5th. So opening the season against South Dakota State, whether it's at Ryan Field, whether it's on the lake, we'll find out more next week. Then, as you say, it's a bye week, and then Colorado comes in. Obviously, with Deion Sanders as the head coach at Colorado, will bring with it all sorts of attention Seems like it'd be an awesome time to unveil a brand new stadium. If it's ready, we will see.
Will it bring that much attention? I mean, I feel like
It's Deion Sanders. I mean,
Well,
like,
and this is of
but
course.
that star burned a lot less bright this past year. Now that his kids have graduated, and now that like the talent profile of Colorado dropped off a bunch.
Well, and I mean, go
Not
ahead.
to mention like other health things.
Well, and other options in terms of when you open the stadium too.
right. So then we get our Big Ten opener in week 3, or I guess it's week 4. We open up the Big Ten slate at your defending national champion Indiana Hoosiers on September 26th. Come home to play Penn State, then Ball State. Then October 17th, a date that I'm sure a few people have circled, trip to East Lansing to take on Michigan State. Come home to play Rutgers. Then we travel out west. Our one trip to the western coast, Halloween, as you mentioned, against Oregon. Come home for November 7th against Iowa. Then a little 2-game road trip at Ohio State, at Minnesota, before finishing off the season November 28th at home against Illinois. Looking at the schedule, most of these games have this little asterisk that said it's eligible for a Friday shift. So who knows how many will get shifted to Friday night? We'll see. I know when the TV networks start having their draft for what games they want, we'll start seeing some games moving to Fridays. Obviously, like we said,
Oregon, please.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Exactly. There's someone's going to get that lottery ticket. I mean, now part of me is wondering. I'm like, when is that game going to kick? Is that going to be like a late, like, well, I'll do trick or treating and then come back and watch that football game? And maybe that's workable. I think to me, it really is. I mean, there's a bunch of things to bat around with this. Not to be lost in this, only because as Northwestern fans, you all know this and you're all so familiar with this. Moving up FCS powerhouse SDSU to week 1 of our football season. Like, don't love it. None of us love that we're playing this team anyway. They definitely hit some bumps in the road last season. I think they had like a couple of rough stretches, but I think at least early on in the season, this team attained a really lofty ranking. Obviously, we know. Yeah.
This is not a hot take. They might be the 4th most scary team on our schedule after the big 3.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, it sounds like this one is likely, there's a really good chance it's on the lake. But I mean, if you juxtapose
we don't know that for sure.
We're
reading the tea leaves.
We don't know it exactly. Like,
we're inferring a lot based on actual fact.
Right. And anybody who's said that to us is also inferring. Like, this is not something that people are leaking.
Right.
We're talking. I mean, it's all guesswork at this point, and there's no credible leaks out there one way or another that would point to anything right now. So I think like this is very much just guessing.
Right. I guess like in a week we may all know more. Right. So, but we're all looking. I mean, again though, it's like any talk of SDSU right now is rooted very much in all of these scheduling questions and venue questions, and it's like, take a moment to be like, this is SDSU. They're traditionally a top 5 FCS team in the country, and we have up until very recently had 2 of their coaches on our roster. So this is actually we still have Ryan Olson. So this is a powerhouse. It's a massive hurdle with a brand new team to be looking at in week 1.
Well, Northwestern typically does not look great in week 1. Then this is across multiple regimes now. So, I mean, this is certainly an uphill battle. And then I alluded to the big 3. We have Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana.
All on the road.
All on the road. Oregon being the one that has I guess Ohio State as well. Like, neither one of them has as much turnover as Indiana. But beyond that, there's some tough games. Like Penn State's tough. Iowa's tough. We get them both at home. Illinois is tough. At Michigan State is going to have some vibes to it, some feels to it. But beyond those big 3, it's a very workable schedule. but I guess as a result, there's probably a pretty wide range of options or of outcomes that could come for Northwestern, depending how we show up and how we come together with our transfer talent.
And especially like with the Chip Kelly of it all, like
Right.
our offense is going to be completely different. We have it's going to be real fascinating to see what we can see coming from spring practice. I don't know how we're going to preview this team, not knowing anything about what the offense is going to look like. I mean,
Right.
Well, depth is going to be such a thing, especially at the quarterback position. I mean,
Absolutely.
Childs is somebody who's been injured both of the last 2 seasons. We think there's a lot of potential upside there, but we're not deep at QB. That's for sure. But yeah, so it is. This is just kind of the the name of the game now, right? All these teams are so many different parts of these different teams are changing. It will be very difficult to peg, and it's where we, typically rely a lot on culture and you can piece together what a coaching staff has done previously and what they might do together now. With a lot of this is just the incremental change from year to year and trying to projecting where it goes. So it will be a bit of a wide open slate. I don't think there are any, like, maybe with the exception of Ohio State and to a degree Oregon, there's a lot of turnover across the entire rest of this conference. I mean, Penn State's a brand new team.
Including Indiana. I mean, you're defending national champion. Even they're turning a ton of stuff. Right. I mean, the Penn State one is fascinating. This too, and again, a Penn State team Northwestern beat the previous year in a brand new Northwestern building. Whether they make that the opener of the new Ryan Field, or whether it's the second game at the new Ryan Field, or whether it's the third game at the new Ryan Field, that's going to be a massive game. Like, figure on, you talk about like a game that could get flexed to a good time slot. That's a big game. And if they put that, if that's the opener, that's a monster game.
I mean, if nothing else, it's the conference opener in the new
Right.
stadium.
I mean, one of the things, right, because someone told, wasn't Minnesota's stadium was the last time a Big Ten team opened a new stadium. It doesn't happen very often, and a radically new building like this is a really, really big deal. So, and I think was Minnesota's a brand new stadium? Scott, you know.
No, it
Yeah.
was.
Oh,
Like, they
yeah,
played it.
'cause-
They played
'cause
at the
they used to-
Metrodome.
Yeah, they used to play
Right.
the Metrodome.
Right, that's right.
So
Yeah,
it was
that's
not
right.
just brand new, but it was the first time they'd had a campus
Right,
facility in God knows how long.
That's right. So that was the last
John,
one.
I hadn't thought about that. Like,
It doesn't
and
happen
obviously-
often.
No, and obviously so much of it is about the tradition of the Big Ten and the history, et cetera. But like, I can't even think of who else has built a new stadium in this conference. Ever.
No, it almost never happens. That's
I mean,
the thing.
I feel
is
like Rutgers Stadium might be fairly new.
I remember.
I mean,
I remember when they did
comparatively,
the
at
massive renovations on that stadium, and that was during like the first Schiano kind of glory era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but I mean, the novelty factor, and well earned. We're about to open one of the greatest football stadiums ever. And the novelty of that and Penn State, even if it's Colorado, but if it's Penn State, will be a huge deal. Looking at the actual way the schedule is going to play out, one thing that is very comparable to this past season is obviously we have to make a bunch of hay early here. You can look at the first half of this schedule and be like, we were joking about it on Twitter, but it's like, if we just beat everyone on our schedule that was bad last year, and you throw in South Dakota State, we'd start 6-1, and we would almost certainly be ranked traveling to Oregon. That's putting the cart so far before the horse. But you can't argue, like, Colorado, may not be good. Penn State, who knows what they are. Yeah. Ball State, Michigan State, Rutgers, like, you got to make hay there. We got to be winning. You're hoping for 5 out of the first stretch here.
I mean, in another moment of similarity with this past year, that second to last game of the year against Minnesota. For bowl eligibility, that feels like a pretty solid prediction right there.
Yep.
Kind of the middle narrative of the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah,
And then
you know, where do you find 6, right? And then finishing
Right.
up against Illinois. Who knows what any of these guys are going to look like? We
Is
just
Right.
Altmaier gone? I forget.
yes,
oh,
finally.
Yeah.
Altmaier's gone. Altmaier's
Yeah.
gone.
I mean,
Finally.
so let's go down this. Illinois is going to have a new QB.
Yep.
Minnesota will not. Ohio State will not. Iowa will have a new QB. Oregon will not. God only knows if Rutgers is going to have a new QB. I don't really care. Michigan will.
Michigan State absolutely does.
Or Michigan
because
State.
we have
Yep,
theirs.
Yep. Who knows about Ball State?
Ball State, no.
Penn State will have a new QB. Now, granted, I think it'll be Anthony Beck, the QB from Iowa State. So, like,
Yeah.
there is some continuity there with a bunch of players and with the coaching staff coming over, et cetera. Indiana will have a new QB. Colorado might have their same QB.
I think he transferred,
Maybe.
didn't he? Or am I
think
wrong?
Probably are. I mean, like,
Colorado started.
odds
They started
on.
like 3 quarterbacks last year, and I think 2 of them may have transferred.
Yeah. And of course we have a new QB as well. So like I'm not trying to like throw stones in glass houses. I just like it creates disruption, and some of that disruption goes one way and some of that disruption goes the other way. I mean, we went toe to toe with Indiana 2 years ago. And if we had played Fernando Mendoza this past year, I think he would have smoked the shit out of us.
Oh my God, yes.
And yeah, they're getting, Josh Hoover transfer from TCU, but I think I saw Omar Cooper Jr. is moving on. They've got some some guys graduating. So like, this is gonna be a very different team. They're gonna be super well coached. They're gonna be super well prepared. They're gonna be a murder machine like they've been for the last 2 seasons. But a murder machine without Fernando Mendoza, I would much prefer that to the alternative.
Right, for sure. With the way college football is now, finding continuity from one season to another just doesn't exist anymore. We're discovering all new teams every year. Like, I know a ton of guys from Iowa State transferred to Penn State. Do we know exactly how many? It was like more than 10.
The team basically is at Penn
It was
State
a
now.
huge number.
It's
I think it's in the
monstrous.
20s. Like,
It's-
I think
okay.
it's
yeah.
maybe 19 or 20, 23, something in there. I feel like it's a number I heard. And then there's something like 53 guys that have left Iowa State overall.
Yeah, so I mean, it obviously a huge part of the calculus. This is everything like Scuzz was saying about like how little you know. If you think Northwestern's going to be a bad football team, the first 4 games don't look great. An FCS powerhouse, Colorado, who knows what they could be, and then Indiana, and then Penn State. If you think we're really going to find some fire and find something like really special, then it reframes. You beat an FCS team, you beat a very beatable Colorado team, you love that second shot at a reconstituted Penn State, and you're looking at Ball State, Michigan State, Rutgers, and be like, there's all kinds of momentum. I was joking with some friends of ours today that the most Northwestern thing ever would be a 6-1 start wherein we lose to South Dakota State and then rip off 6 in a row, including Indiana. I was like, that would be the most on-brand start, I think, to this season. But that Oregon, Iowa, Ohio State stretch, boy.
And the fact that we don't have a bye week at all in that entire stretch. I mean, like we go to Oregon, we have to come back and play Iowa, it's Iowa. We're going to get beat up. To then immediately go to Columbus the next week. That's brutal.
Yep.
I care about one of these games and not the other 2. I'll just dip back into like a Friday flex for that Oregon game to put it on Halloween Eve. Give us an extra day of rest.
No, that'd be nice.
Let's circle
the Hawkeyes
Saturday. I want it bad. I want it bad. That would feel like that for our 6th win would be.
Ooh, that would be.
And I mean,
that'd be sweet.
And I mean, Penn State and Iowa in that building are going to be electric football games. Like this is the other thing too, is like we've talked about this building for so long, and it's like Northwestern, Penn State in the new Ryan Field, Northwestern and Iowa in the new Ryan Field. Those are going to be tickets all your friends are going to want. You have a season ticket, like that's the one where those ones everyone's going to be like, man, any chance I can get in on that? I'd like
Northwestern fans only. Northwestern fans only.
Northwestern, right. Amen. And I mean, obviously Illinois as well. But these are going to be massive tickets. This stadium is going to be the absolute deal. And these are big time teams that are big time rivals for us. I mean, and then Penn State is Penn State. These are going to be huge. And Sky, that's the Scuz's point. I feel like if that was the one, right? If that was number 6 with a bullet, Iowa, man, that would be incredible. But these are going to be, it's going to be an interesting stretch. 2 in November, so we'll see how the weather plays. But
I mean, we'll have the overhang. I mean,
that's right.
The canopy. I mean, even if it's cold, we won't get wet.
Right. It's amazing, and yeah, we're gonna find out.
Will the canopy block wind? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm so excited. You know what we need to? You know what we need to do? We need to retweet or refind. There was a video on big construction or mega projects.
Yeah.
There's some content creator. It's an 11-minute video. I quipped to you guys when I shared it. It's probably 6 minutes too long, but there's some really interesting tidbits about how they built the stadium, what they had to do, how they approached it, what's going to be different about it. And I think it really does a good job kind of highlighting some of the stuff that we're most excited about. The sound control, the awning, just how intimate and tight it is going to feel. With the sight lines and the distance to the field, and so we got to get that circulating again, because I thought that was pretty compelling.
The one thing in that video that really struck me was interesting is that they had the seismographs on site. That if things got too loud, they had to stop immediately, so they didn't piss off the neighbors.
I was gonna say, Russ.
Thought that was hilarious.
I think otherwise, they had a NIMBY posted by the door, and he or she would run in going shh anytime it happened. But
2.2 in the seismograph. 2.2 in the seismograph. Cease work now.
But. I mean,
God forbid the $1 million homes hear some construction nearby.
But it's wild. Even if it was all the way until Penn State, that's still 5 games in this brand new building that we're all going to get to watch this year. I mean, once it's here, it's going to be here forever. It's going to be really, really cool.
Talk about how awesome of a venue it is, and you think back to everything that's gone into putting this together, from the town commission, again, pour one out, David Gold, for putting in the hours.
Everybody, David Gold should never have to buy a drink at Evanston again.
But just all the hard work that went into making that happen, and then to get the lakefront field, to get Martin Stadium, put together. There's one guy, I mean, so many people were so involved, but Jesse Marks, a guy who was really seemed to be the forefront in a lot of these, making really pivotal in making all this happen. He just got a job at the University of Miami, where he's from. He's going home. God, I hate that we're losing him. But that is an awesome. Wish him nothing but the best of luck at Miami. It's just an awesome hire by Miami. But
I hope Milkman didn't recruit him.
Yeah, I know. Jesse Marks and the Milkman the same year. What a get for the Miami Hurricanes. But I mean, you're absolutely right, Sam. Jesse Marks, what an amazing the 1-2 punch of these 2 projects that he has helped bring home. The lakeside field, which it still is amazing now, especially if it's, we may not be done there. There may be 1 game there. There may be 2 games there, but we all know how unbelievable of an experience that is. That was really pulled off, just an amazing rabbit pulled out of the hat. We've said it a million times in a million other pods, but yeah, and Jesse Marks was so instrumental in that. And Scuzz, you and I stood in Jesse Marks' office, and he took the time to walk us through so many of the bells and whistles of this new stadium and everything, and was so generous with his time. And that's not an experience that was unique to us. I think this is someone who left just the most favorable impression. Everybody liked Jesse Marks, and everyone loved his energy, and he helped accomplish amazing things. So yeah, that is like, yeah, I wish we weren't losing him, but everything you said is true, Sam.
I think energy is a great comment because what sticks with me from that conversation we had was not the things he shared with us about the stadium, but just the excitement that he had. I mean, they put so much thought into building the stadium, and it's not going to be perfect. Like, not every Northwestern fan is going to be thrilled and over the moon, but like they really worked hard to find unique ways to create seating for young alumni, a space for to pull folks in who are just out of school, ways to differentiate this experience from a lot of the other new awesome amazing stadiums in the NFL, etc. I just like the energy, the excitement. I think that was palpable. I think that's why he was able to accomplish so much at Northwestern. Wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I hate that we're losing him, but congrats to him for everything he did at Northwestern and for everything he's going to do at Miami. I mean, just all the best luck to Jesse as he moves forward. Kind of taking a step back, want to kind of, like I said, the entire Big Ten schedule was released today. And as we look through it, what sticks out? Like what kind of is interesting about the rest of the schedule? Obviously, we'll go through everyone's schedule as we hit everyone's previews, but just right off the hop.
So as I've been poring over it, trying to find like who's got a really tough stretch. Like, is there a stretch of 3 or 4 games that really stands out on anybody's ledger? Honestly, the Oregon, Iowa, Ohio State stretch on our schedule is maybe as tough of a 3 straight games as anyone has. Michigan State has a away game at Michigan, and then Washington and Oregon back-to-back 3 games in a row in November. Now they get the 2 West Coast teams coming to Michigan in the first 2 weeks of November, so that maybe is a little bit of an advantage for them. The other one that jumps off the table, so nobody else seems to have like a really tough 3-game stretch, which is interesting. I feel like typically you've seen teams that are like somebody's getting hammered. We were talking earlier before we got on the pod. Penn State's got a really easy road. USC has 2 byes.
USC has 2 byes because they're still trying to fill one more game. Like, they haven't.
One of those a Notre Dame?
It was in fact the Notre Dame spot. They have not filled that yet. They only have 11 games on their schedule.
Guess what? This is why they told Notre Dame to piss off, because now they have a bye in week 7 and a bye in week 10. And
one of those is getting filled though.
No, they're going to TBA fill week 0.
Maybe.
That's where they're going to put a game, and they're going to have a built-in structural advantage in their schedule this next year. It's 100% why they did this. More power to them for figuring it out, but they're going to pay some schmo. They've got Fresno State and they've got the Raging Cajuns from Louisiana on their schedule right now. They can put anyone. They can put, Cal Polytech into that week 0 game if they want. As their FCS opponent and be sweet. So that's kind of a gift set up for USC in my opinion. The other stretch that I find really interesting, it's a lot less interesting when you understand that Darian Mensah is leaving Duke to go to Miami.
Right.
But Illinois plays what feels like a classic Northwestern opening to the season. So they've got UAB week 1, but then Duke.
I feel like we've done Duke and the Salukis in the same season,
yes,
haven't we?
Yeah. Duke, NIU, and then at Ohio State. And that is a very, very interesting and challenging starting 3 games. Now, that Duke team might be greatly reduced, but like NIU, especially
SIU. SIU. Yeah.
Well, that's SIU.
Yeah,
well,
the Salukis.
Shit. The Salukis. Maybe that's less concerning, but still, a team that's going to punch above its weight in conference. And man, my logo game is off. I feel dumb for having made that mistake.
No worries. No worries.
Either way, it's a pretty interesting start to Illinois. 3 non-cons, then they have to go to Ohio State to get the year rolling.
Yeah, it is. Their schedule's like big up, big down. I mean, you can look and if Duke is down and Duke's been gutted. I mean, they're losing Mensah. They're losing their best wide receiver too, also to Miami. I think it's brutal. But yeah, if the first three teams, are all down, they also get Purdue and Michigan State in their first five. But again, goes back to everything Scott said. We don't know what the hell Illinois is going to be this year. I don't know what the hell so many of these teams are going to be this season. It's so weird. I mean, you look. Nebraska theoretically has absolute cake at the start of their season, but I have no idea what Nebraska is going to be.
Who's their quarterback?
Yeah, right. No idea. Their quarterback chose to leave to go sit on the bench at Oregon. So,
and like you talk about rough stretches. I mean, Nebraska's got Indiana and then at Oregon in back-to-back weeks. Yeah, they get a bye after that, but still, like that's a rough back-to-back.
The one other like rough stretch that I can come up with, it's a 5-game stretch at the end of Washington's schedule. So at Nebraska, hosting Penn State, at Michigan State, not as hard, but travel, and then hosting Indiana at Oregon. That's a pretty rough 5-game stretch. You get Michigan State in there certainly, but when you add on that they also play Iowa, USC, Washington State, Eastern Washington, which always kind of punches above their weight. Like Washington's got a pretty tough slate overall.
I remember the first year the Pac-12 teams were being integrated into the Big Ten. We noticed that there weren't many, there were like just a tiny little handful of West Coast teams traveling east in November. That's not the case anymore. I'm just looking up and down this list. I mean, Washington in November will play at Penn State. No, sorry, at Michigan State, at Nebraska late. USC goes to Indiana in November. Wisconsin in late October. You've got Oregon going to Ohio State and Michigan State.
UCLA is going to play Michigan the week before Thanksgiving and Minnesota the first week of November, both on the road.
Yeah.
Poor UCLA.
You know who's got a very hard schedule, but just it's not going to be noticed, is Ohio State. Ohio State's schedule is quite difficult. It's just their Ohio State, and they're probably going to be the best team in the country this year. So, I mean, they play Texas, at Iowa, at Indiana, USC, Oregon,
they're at Texas.
And Michigan.
At
Texas.
They open with Ball State. They're at Texas. Kent State, cool. Illinois is at home. They're at Iowa. They're at Indiana. They're at USC. They get Oregon at home. They're at Nebraska.
It's a hard schedule. Their team's just probably going to be absolutely stacked. But even there, I mean, they get Sayin back, but they're losing a metric ton off their offense and defense. There's so much turnover.
I think they lose Carnell Tate, but their wide receiver core is going to be still really good.
Oh,
they're
is
still
Smith?
going to have Smith back.
Smith is back,
man.
yeah.
God,
Smith can't leave yet. They're going to just reload on D,
reload
at O-line, running back.
Sure.
I mean, that is a tough schedule, but I mean, it's got to be them coming out of the gate. You have to give Indiana a little bit of benefit of the doubt, given what they did the last 2 years. But Ohio State and Oregon feel like the odds-on favorites, and that that November 7th or November 6th, whatever that weekend is. I think I saw Stu Mandel tweet out the schedule of that week. It's bananas. So you've got Ohio State, Oregon, you've got Alabama, LSU, you've got like just a bunch of massive games that weekend.
Holy Wars that weekend, right?
Yeah,
Utah, BYU.
I think 5 to 7 games that are going to have massive ramifications for the course of the season. So
Northwestern,
circle
Ball
week
State.
10.
Yeah.
we're playing Iowa that weekend.
Oh no! Oh, this is
week 10. Week 10.
10. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we'll have a piece of that. That may be only the second Big Ten game in the barn, in the new barn by that point. I mean, this is all speculation, but that may be a hot ticket too.
I mean, it will be the second Big Ten game in the barn.
Right. Hey, I mean, this is you never know. The run we may be putting together at that point, we may be fresh off a Halloween victory at Oregon.
It could be the third game in the barn. I think you guys.
No, it's not the third game. I'm saying Big Ten game.
Well, yeah, because we have Penn State and Rutgers before that.
Oh, Rutgers. Yeah. Sorry, Rutgers.
I mean, easy to forget Rutgers.
Right. No shade, but shade.
So,
the onion night of the Big Ten.
Oh, for sure.
The money losing machine. Would they lose
Oh my
85
God,
million
yeah.
last year or something like that?
Wild 74. something like
How?
that? I don't know.
How?
They're just
No
hemorrhaging
clue.
cash. Yeah.
So
Wow.
so yeah,
The Big Ten's got more money than God. I don't know how you lose that much.
Yeah.
yeah, no idea. But if you or a loved one is seriously injured by someone else's negligence, hire Kent Simpson of the Simpson Law Group. After over a decade prosecuting murder cases in Chicago, Simpson opened his own firm focused on wrongful death and personal injury cases. He specializes in car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and other transportation accidents, as well as construction accidents, medical negligence, slip and falls, product liability, and more. Millions recovered for clients, no fee unless he wins. The Simpson Law Group, compassion, empathy, and vigorous advocacy. Go to simpsonlawgroup.com or call 312-332-2107 for a free consultation, and go Cats. So obviously next week we'll find out more as far as locations go. It's just very odd that they, didn't have all that wrapped up together. This whole home venues to be announced later. That's just something's going on, and it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Couple other things we need to talk about tonight. Some football related, some other sport related. John, you want to take us through some of the recruiting thing?
Yeah,
recruiting news and notes.
So Dominic Kirks, one of the, we've covered so much portal stuff in the past couple of weeks. One of the few guys we haven't covered is Dominic Kirks, linebacker from Ohio State, and he's an interesting one in that he was a really big recruit. He picked Ohio State over, I think, USC and others, and was one of the, a really top rated linebacker in the country, and went to Ohio State and basically didn't play for 2 years. So his, if you look at the profile, the ratings, his rating as a transfer was lower than his rating as a recruit. And obviously that's due to the fact that he basically has no stats in 2 years. On the other hand, if you look at the personnel who have started for Ohio State in the past 2 years, it's effectively the nation's best defense 2 years in a row. It's hard to crack that roster. So who knows, what we're getting from defensive end from him. Like, we're going to find out. Like, it's certainly a great add to the roster. And who knows, when, with some playing time for us, he may get a real chance to shine. The other two things that we wanted to highlight are, it's so hilarious that's like, we're actually going to talk a little high school recruiting here.
We barely mentioned the high school recruiting class for Northwestern this year. I mean, we kind of touched on a few of the guys, as they trickled in, but
there's a second signing day coming up, right? So
right.
I mean,
it's just funny though. I mean, it's there just is so much that happens relative to the portal. But relative to this Northwestern 2026 recruiting class, a couple of these guys are really good and have really been late risers in the rankings. Rivals published their final Rivals 300 for the 2026 class, and we have two guys in there. Owen Fors, who's maybe guard center for us, out of Barrington, local guy. He cracked the list, and I mean, I just think of a Pete Skoronski, I mean, not to put the Pete Skoronski label on anyone, but an interior lineman who was local and really kind of was a late riser and really shot up the boards in that way. Fors is making that kind of impact. And to a guy, now you're looking and you're being like, this guy's considered a top 25 interior offensive lineman in the country. But the massive riser is Jaden McDuffie. And I think all of you should circle him, underline him. Some of you, if you're more casually following, and especially with this new portal era, and what we were just talking about with the way high school recruiting can kind of get lost in the shuffle here, Jaden McDuffie may be a really big deal. He's got good size. It's a 6'3" wide receiver who can really do a bit of everything. And Northwestern secured a commitment from him a long time ago, and then has held on to him as his profile has risen and risen and risen. And he went up like a rocket ship in the final Rivals 300 rating. He's a top 150 player in the nation per Rivals. Think about how big of a deal that is. The Northwestern landed a skill position guy. This is a top 25 wide receiver in the country, and a wide receiver with good size. and mobility, and the kind of guy that Scuzz has talked about wanting us to land for like years and years. Like this is potentially a really big ad. I mean, nothing's for certain, but if you were going to make a list and be like, well, of the guys in this 2026 recruiting class, who could actually go out there and find a way onto the field early? Well, probably a guy's a top 150 player in the country. So that was pretty awesome to see. But it's in addition to all these portal guys we've been bringing in, like this recruiting class is suddenly looking pretty special too.
Yeah, I mean, we'll kind of keep an eye on. You mentioned the second signing day, which has really taken the back seat, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But that feels. I feel like historically that is when we've typically talked about the class, even in the most recent few years with the early signing day, et cetera. We've generally waited till February to be able to talk about the whole class.
All right, so we'll do that then at the second signing day, whenever that is. Want to talk? I mean, we need to talk basketball. Northwestern men won a game in the Big Ten, which is great. Yes, they went out to USC out in the West Coast, late night tip. 10 o'clock tip-off in Central Time, but they won, which is huge.
I was working very late that night and was able to watch. I mean, I just had it on the background for a good portion of it, but then was able to really tune into the final 10 minutes or so. The Cats played the gritty, tenacious kind of ball they played all year. I think the challenges that have faced this team, particularly 3-point shooting and inside defensive presence, remain problems. In this particular game, some of those same issues were befalling our opponent, and we were able to take advantage. And I think, in particular, what stood out about the game, we started a bunch of youth, so Crop, and Singleton, and I'm blanking on Max Green.
West and then Green, yeah.
West and Max Green started alongside Martinelli. So there's a new starting lineup. They seem to play pretty well together. The young guys all put up great stats. Max Green had a phenomenal all-around game. I thought Crop and Martinelli had a ton of chemistry and had a bit of like a great two-man game down low. They seem to complement each other in ways that like Page and Martinelli's game just haven't worked together as well for whatever reason. And then late USC made a bit of a run, but the Cats were able to hold them off, etc. But for a team that was shooting much better from three or from the free throw stripe, which like both of those were major issues for USC, probably is able to overcome Northwestern, given it was a home game, etc. So there's still a long way to go for this Cats team to get back to a better state.
Yeah, and they ran it back against UCLA, put the same starters out there, and it's I mean, look, this season I think we all see the writing pretty clearly on the wall here, the way this was going to go. So from one standpoint, I mean, you look and you're like, look, starting Singleton, Crop, Green, West, like those guys may all be starting a ton of basketball games together, and this is a team that clearly can't shoot right now.
Yeah.
Green and West can shoot though. And Green is a shooter, and if you squint the right way, there's Ryan Langborg there. But so I mean, you're getting the best out there. I mean, the KJ Wyndham thing, clearly the die is cast there. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know what we'll ever figure out.
I thought he was a decent shooter last year. I'm not going to lie.
No, I know. I know it is.
But I want to go back to the UCLA game in particular. So the Cats were outmatched for a lot of that game, and then they knuckled down and really made a run at the end. They got it within 2 possessions, and then UCLA came down and hit a 3, and we just couldn't respond. And I was just thinking, man, what I wouldn't give for this is a dumb statement because he was such a powerful player for us, but I'm thinking more of in a reserve or kind of role player way, but to be able to put out a guy with Ty Berry's shooting prowess at the end of the game when you need a couple buckets and you literally surround Nicky Buckets with some shooters. We just can't do that right now. And for whatever reason, a couple of the guys that we think on the bench have that skill set aren't playing, and it's tough sledding right now. but it is what it is. I guess maybe this is finally the transition year that we were, worried about coming 2 seasons ago. Boo came back and we're thinking, oh, this is going to be a year we were able to, pass things off, and then they made this run, and then even last year, I think they made a run that we were excited about what Barnhizer and Martinelli and Barry could do together, and then with Barnhizer getting hurt at the beginning of the season, the lack of a true point guard, like maybe now this is finally the chickens coming home to roost as we transition to a new era.
Which is a bummer because Martinelli is putting up 23 points a game.
Yeah, he's the leading scorer in the NCAA.
I know it's a bummer. It's a bummer. But like Singleton it is what it is, right? I mean, it sucks. But Singleton and West are guys who may start a million games in purple, and right now they're pulling 30 minutes a game as true freshmen on his team, and in the Big Ten that may really bear fruit in the long term. So, yeah, developmental run here. There's probably going to be a bunch more body blows to go in this season, but hopefully, some of these guys are really pulling big development. But yeah, the real bummer is that it ends. That it's going to go like this for Nicky Buckets, a transcendent Northwestern player. You'd wish for better for him, and hopefully, we will find some big moments for him in the second half of the Big Ten stretch.
Yeah, Thursday night we're playing Penn State at Welsh Ryan on Peacock, just for you, John. So enjoy that.
Awesome. It's like hint of basketball. Did you make that joke before? I love it. Like hint of viewing experience.
Don't we have a game before then?
Nope.
Aren't we playing? Oh no. Sorry.
Well, it's Penn State on the 29th. Then Washington at home on Saturday on the 31st. Before heading down to play at Illinois at Iowa.
It bears mentioning Washington and Penn State are not
right.
Good. And
that's kind of what I'm
them
saying.
Both at home. Yeah. I mean, hey, you find a spark here. 3-4, why not? Let's put together a good home atmosphere here. Maybe this team can light a fire. This youth movement that we've got going in the starting lineup. Maybe this is the stretch where they can build some momentum.
Well, hopefully they can do it in those two, because the 4 following at Illinois, at Iowa, home for Michigan, home at Nebraska, who just lost their first game tonight.
Sure,
shock the world.
Exactly.
Well, hey,
exactly.
So I'm going to be candid about something here for our listeners. So we have 2 season tickets to basketball, which we picked up last year, and candidly, we're having trouble getting to games. Some of it's just the schedules that we're all dealing with, etc. So if anybody is keen and would be interested in procuring our tickets, to give us a shout, let us know, and we'll see if we can help you out, because they've gone unused for almost all the games thus far this year.
Anything else before we pivot to spring?
Yeah, no, it's coming. All the big spring sports are right around and every time. Well, not for softball. Softballs are going to be in a different venue. But anyone who goes to a baseball game, or even who drives into campus to go out to the lake, or to go to the Walker Athletic Center, is going to be able to check out this stadium, which is going to get real, really quick.
I'm gonna do something dumb, asking a question that I literally don't know the answer to. Before we talk spring, are there any Northwestern athletes in the Winter Olympics?
Not that I'm aware of.
I feel like every summer we've got a couple of swimmers, and there's always a little bit of stuff going on, but
I don't not that I'm aware of.
Okay,
give me some Man Bear Pete single man bobsled. Give me Man Bear Pete skeleton. That's what I want.
I want to see Venric Mark speed skating.
Yeah, there we go.
Mach 5 on ice.
Yeah. I mean, not having an ice rink on campus makes it a little bit difficult to
hush you. Shaney Davis trained in Evanston, so I won't hear it.
I love how you guys managed to work this in every pod. Well done.
Yeah, so spring sports are coming. Golf is on their way down to the Purdue Puerto Rico Classic. Interesting. Purdue and Puerto Rico is one thing together. So
Hey, I saw a couple of our women from the golf team have been invited to the there's a women's amateur at Augusta at the
Oh
Masters.
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
And that is pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll need to figure out a little bit more on the
I
details
retweeted.
on that.
I'm trying to find my sources here.
I'm just thinking that, like it's a real deep cut, but Purdue, Puerto Rico is actually where Kurt Zignetti started out. That was, I think, his first start. It went Purdue, Puerto Rico, then it was Ooey Pooey, and then it was on up from there.
We mentioned lacrosse starting up here real soon, February 6th. They're at Boston College before coming home to take on Colorado, Army, Central Michigan, Marquette. That kind of takes us through the middle of February. So lacrosse will be here before you know it. Softball will be here before you know it. Baseball will be here before you know it, which is mind-boggling considering how stupidly cold and snowy it's been in the Chicago area the past weekend or so, and around the rest of the country. But like the fact that baseball is going to be starting up here February 13th when the Cats play at Rice.
Whew. So hey, I found that golf info.
Yes.
So it's the Augusta National Women's Amateur. It's the first weekend in April. It's Ashley Yoon and Diana Lee. That's a pretty awesome achievement, and I won't lie. Northwestern golf has always been on my radar as we've generally got pretty good golf teams. I think we all felt like watching that championship kind of unexpectedly. Watching them perform at the end of last season was one of the highlights of my 2025. I'm really excited to clock this team much more closely this year.
I was going to say, Ashley Yoon and Deanna Lee, put that on TV, because the brighter the lights, the better those two perform.
Damn straight. Damn straight. So, Sam, you mentioned baseball starting February 17th. Starting before that, women's lax.
Yeah.
Your number 2 in the country preseason women's lacrosse team, Maddie Taylor back.
It is amazing to be talking about lacrosse going right now when the power steering fluid in my car froze yesterday.
Oh, jeez.
Can spring get here any faster? Let's go. Let's just wind that clock.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be back with more home venue information next week if there's something that we need to discuss. Obviously, we'll be keeping our eyes on hoops as we move forward into February. But so with that, we'll go ahead and leave it there for tonight. Head to our website, westlaw.pirates.com, where you can leave comments and questions. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube, at Westlaw Pirates, and you can always email us, westlawpirates@gmail.com. Tune in next time as we give our visceral and statistical views on Northwestern athletics, and look for us in the west lot of Ryan Field flying the red pirate flag, because we give no quarter, especially the fourth. John Lacombe and Eric Scasbo, I'm Sam Walter. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.